So now we know the AFC title game, Dan. Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. Ravens about a field goal or plus favorite over Kansas City. But based on what you just watched with Kansas City and then obviously what you saw yesterday, especially in the second half after Lamar got into him in the locker room, what's your first read? Chiefs, Ravens, AFC title game next Sunday.
Hands down, it's a Baltimore Ravens win. You can't excuse Patrick Mahomes. You can't just walk over him and act like this is going to be an easy one. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. But I think when it comes down to it, the Ravens defense will get the best of the Patrick Mahomes offense there in Kansas City. And then I think with the Ravens' new offense, man, Lamar, OBJ, Zay Flowers, hopefully Mark Andrews be back, but Isaiah Likely has been killing it. I think we come out on top of this thing by at least 2 touchdowns, and we kind of run away with it headed to the Super Bowl next week. And it's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait to see the outcome of how this game is going to play out. It's going to be similar to the night's game where it's a back and forth battle. And then I think the Ravens will run away with it in the second half. They've been a second half team all year.
Dan, we saw just now with the Chiefs beating the Bills 27-24, they took away the receivers. Like, they let them get the underneath stuff. Stephon Diggs, they had that one shot down the field that was incomplete to Stephon Diggs, but really couldn't get to him down the field. A lot of short stuff to Shakir, a lot of short stuff to the tight end. What do you think the Ravens are going to do in terms of attacking that Chiefs defense, which you can run on them, but they're tough to throw the ball on, especially down the field?
I think the Ravens have a slow burn plan. It's been like that kind of all season. They're not interested in beating you in the first quarter or the second quarter. They want to keep the game kind of tight the first half. Then the second half, they kind of dissect everything that you're doing. They make their adjustments. Then they come out and they play ball. They will run the ball down your throat the entire first half. If you're going to give them the run, they'll take the run. If you're going to give them the underneath stuff, we got some of the best underneath guys in the country, with OBJ and Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely, Kolar, Andrews. Heck, you can even throw Patrick Ricard in there. He'll get him some too. But, our running back game, I think, it's been obviously at the top of the league all year long with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. Now you bring in Cook, and you got 3 guys that you can hand the ball off to and run it. And we got a pretty decent, I think, O-line, man. They're definitely coming together towards the end of this year. You see the chemistry just flourishing. And I love our center. I love Linderbaum. I think he's doing a phenomenal job in the middle of the field, man. And just let's not sleep. We got the most dynamic running quarterback in the NFL, even though he kind of took his foot off the gas all year long, just so y'all could realize, all right, I can throw the ball too. But at the end of the day, he could take off and run it at any moment, get you 100 quick.
There's never going to be another 52 in Baltimore quite like Ray Lewis, right? But, when I saw them get Roquan Smith from Chicago and then Patrick Queen, they draft him, I said, man, it's never going to be Ray and Reed, Ed Reed, and those guys. But how physical is this defense? Is it close to what they had when they won that chip with Ray and Reed and the boys?
Yeah, that's a great question. When everything switched and everything changed, and I watched this defense last year when Mike McDonald got the first nod coming in as a new DC. And, you saw the loss to Miami last year, and you kind of scratching your head. And I was like, we're just not as physical as we used to be. And then we go get Roquan Smith, and I was like, lights out. Like, it was a totally different defense. Super ecstatic, man, the way this thing is panning out. Now, these guys get an extra game than we had when we played the game. They get 17, we had 16. So the stats could be a little bit misleading. But what I do like about what our defense is doing, they're making a name for themselves all around the league. They're right back to playing like a Raven, to being a physical defense. And I think they're making Ray Lewis and company proud. And one thing I love about Roquan Smith, to be willing to get the tutelage and the knowledge from a guy like a Ray Lewis to request that, man, to sit there and take that. It's hard a lot of times. These guys got egos, man, and I love to see a young guy put his ego away and learn from the greatest that ever did it, man. If I had a chance to study and learn from Ray, I would be right there with him underneath his wing, trying to figure out everything I possibly can. And I think that's going to be the thing that catapult him. It's iron sharpens iron. Roquan Smith, Patrick McQueen is sharpening each other up in the middle of that field. I think we got the best linebacker duo in the country. I pray to God after this season, Eric DeCosta to keep it together, because it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
They seem to always keep it together in Baltimore,
Yeah.
though. Whether it's Ozzie Newsome
Yeah,
or
they
Eric
figure it out.
DeCosta, they always seem to draft.
They
Like
do.
every year, Dave, when we watch a draft, it's like that's such a good Baltimore Ravens pick. Like
Kyle
when they
Hamilton.
drafted Kyle Hamilton,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
like that guy's going to be a Pro Bowler at some point, like they all are. So look, Dan, you've been on both sides though. This being conference championship week, won it in Tampa, and then went on to win the Super Bowl. But then in 2008 in Baltimore, in the AFC title game, hate to bring back a painful memory against the Steelers, did not go well. I mean, what is this like, though, when you have the pressure? Because the Super Bowl, I know, is so overwhelming with all the events going on. Now this is just a game, and it's at Baltimore's crib. But I got to think the pressure is just as high this week.
Yeah, the AFC Championship Game is extreme pressure. You know the moment that you're walking into. The great thing about the NFL, sometimes when you're a young player, everything's happening a million miles per hour, and you don't have time to really think. You prepare like you do every single week. This week means a little bit more. The whole city feels it, so you take on the energy of the city that you're playing in. And Charm City is one of the most charming places, but also one of the most exuberant places in the country. And they will let you know, man, you can't walk out to a mall or a grocery store and somebody not recognizing you if you're a player for the Baltimore Ravens. And they're going to have that conversation with you. Good, man, great game last week. I can't wait to see next week. So it's going to be on your mind, and you're gonna work your heart off, man. You're gonna work your hardest this week to try to put your best foot forward. It is a ton of pressure. This entire theme is pressure. There's nothing about this game that's not pressure. It's probably the top 5 pressure-built jobs in the country, and you're gonna feel that regardless. The best thing about it is that you've been doing this your entire life. So it's just like commentating, just like being a doctor. You've been practicing, you've been working on it, you've been taking the education, you've been practicing since you was 5 years old, playing little league, middle school, high school. And at the end of the day, it's just a game. If you could go into this thing and understand that, man, this is the biggest game I've ever played in my life. But at the end of the day, this is the same game I was playing with my friends when I was a little kid, and let that drive me to go out and put my best foot forward. If you sharpen yourself to know everything, the ins and outs about your opponent, and you take the time to read the progress report, and you do all the stuff that you have, and you pay attention to detail, man, this game will be a cakewalk for the Baltimore Ravens. And that's hard to say because you're going against freaking Tom Brady Jr. right now with Patrick Mahomes. So you still gotta bite your nails and be nervous and take this game serious, but you have to figure out a way to relax, breathe, and then, kind of smell the flowers of what the moment is and don't miss out on a part of it. Pay attention to details, study, prepare, watch film as much as you possibly can, and then do not make mistakes throughout the week because that'll make your OC or your DC question everything that he's putting in.
Only about 30 seconds ago, Daniel, very quickly, the Ravens are not the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl. The Niners are. Did they miss what happened in Santa Clara a couple weeks ago?
No, that's how it goes. That's exactly how this thing goes, man. When you win one, they expect you to lose the next one because the other team that lost kind of know what they did wrong, So that's how it goes. The team that won, they think you're going to be comfortable. And unfortunately, I think they got the wrong team this year. It's good that they're the favorites. We like being the underdogs. We've been the black sheep of the league since day one. It's all turning now. We're coming for you.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.